So I would love to hear how you see the deeper meaning of Pesach and the transition from Egypt.
Transition out of Egypt. Okay. It's a very sensitive and crucial point in a spiritual journey. So first we need to read it in a spiritual language, meaning that I know that in let's say soul level, ego level, we can read it as being free, like Pesach is being free from whatever binds you. But we need to understand what Egypt symbolizes. We know that Egypt is, in terms of culture, is symbolizes or epitomizes a peak of a culture, a peak of knowledge, especially a peak of sorcery. Dealing with black magic. So if you go to a first trainee of black magic, you'll see symbols of Egypt. Why? Because the whole concept of Egypt is magic, but not magic in terms of let's say fantasy. In terms of what magic does, it binds you. When the spiritual is looking at Egypt, it's looking at what kind of magic binds you, your perception of reality, to what you become, what enslaves you. So it means that a specific perception of reality, meaning the corporeal reality, enslave all your feelings and demeanor and the way you are able to think. So in many ways, in the soft translation of Pesach is a call for freedom inside. It's like slaves are getting few liberties inside their domain, meaning they are still slaves, but they are given some sort of opportunities that seems to them to be like they're free. So this is when the soul is looking at Egypt and Pesach. But when the spirit is looking at Pesach, it gets the sense of a huge choice. A choice whether to be able to define and identify itself with the higher parts of itself, meaning the spirit, or actually to be part of the structure of the ego. Structure of the ego is not a personal structure. It's a world structure. It's a society structure. We can say that history is the story of the ego, not the story of the spirit. It's like the spirit is an undercurrent story that actually from time to time is revealed, and usually if it's, let's say, a religion, it's being covered by the ego or being hijacked by the ego. So Pesach is actually coming from the Hebrew, if we sort of take it apart as we should, to the component that actually make it is that you get a mouth, meaning a malchut, a screen, an intention that first time allows you to speak. So any exile is the exile of the mind that is able to feel, think from above, and therefore express it. So Pesach is the opportunity to choose to be born. It's to be born, and inside it there is an inner decision and inner stance of what I'm going to work for. It's not that I'm not a slave of the ego anymore, meaning I'm not going to work anymore, but it's actually choosing the boss.
Mm.
So if you want your spirit to be born, means that you chose your boss. You chose the higher, and you understand that now, as something that is being born, it still needs to go through the journey of preparation, of purification, of understanding, of being able, till it gets to Shavuot, yeah, getting the Torah, meaning that it prepares itself to be able to get this light, to be able to work with it, to be able to receive it. So this is one part of of Pesach, of Passover, but it also includes, I would say, in a decision of circumcision. You circumcise your heart, and the blood, if you like, of the circumcision, meaning it's the soul blood, is used to signify your choice. So it's not it doesn't need to be an actual blood. It's a symbol of your soul, meaning where you're going to, or to what you're going to recruit the power of the soul, because the power of the soul will be always your will to receive, but now it needs to be very carefully used. We can receive to the degree that we are agree, wish to be able to bestow, meaning we agree to the term and to the reality that the Creator wish always to expand itself, and we agree to be a willing tool. A willing tool need to circumcise the part that wish to use it for itself. So this is the circumcision of the heart. Then there is a circumcision of the mouth. That you will not use language. You will not use terms of understanding as you used them before. Meaning you need to learn the language from the beginning. So in a way, the beginning of it is a huge silence. You need to silence the way you think about the higher, the way you think about yourself, about someone else, because all the way you were used to think and feel about him is actually convicting and vilifying its action. So you don't know how to speak yet. So you purify your speech and your heart by silence, by avoiding the use that you. So this is some of, let's say, 2 or 3 levels of what Pesach means. Okay, so. So we need to understand that if we actually leave the path of the time, of the spiritual time. Okay, path of spiritual time means what we're able to invite. It's because of the structure, because of the order of processes in the higher. We were notified in the Torah what are special circumstance in which we can invite the higher to interfere and to influence our decision. And Pesach is one of a very sensitive and very crucial point of invitation of a power that will allow us to be born into spirituality, meaning that before that, if you've been even in a very beginning, you'll find a sense of going up and down in your life, in sense of what is happening to you. Nothing is clear anymore. A big sense of confusion, feeling of losing the ground and trying to find new ground. So all this, basically, if you're inside the work, I think a good description would be losing the ground beneath me. Yeah. So you will be able to reassess your importances and to order them, and to know, to feel what is actually missing. To feel what actually is missing. Sometimes you need to define what is missing.
In the London Underground, there's always a phrase sometimes which is mind the gap.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be willing to feel the gap.
To feel the gap and to know that you need an apparatus that will be able to discern the size of the gap. And when you actually reckon it in the right way, you understand that you need help. You cannot cross it by yourself. So this is what I'm saying. You need to know how to mind the gap.
And feel and be willing to feel that.
Yeah, and be willing to feel that the loss of everything that sometimes you worked in your soul and ego and you will call it inner life. You worked for a long time to achieve, and then suddenly its grounding, its importance is lost to you, and it's not. And sometimes what we do intuitively in this is we pray that we will come back to that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's usually a mistake in spiritual. Yeah, it's not going to be the same as before. Though this is how we grasp. This is how we hold. You know, this is how we feel, or we can recognize attachment. Yeah. So, in spiritual terms, you attach yourself, but to something that is outside yourself, not something that you know in yourself. So attachment is not a no-no in spirituality, but to what? Yes.
So there's an element of surrender.
It's an element of surrender, and it's an element of being humble.
Right.
Yeah. So you can't, it's because if we see there's two storylines that go concerning Egypt and getting out of Egypt. Is the story of Israel, which is what is real in spiritual terms, in the collective spirit body, and Moses, and the story of Moses. And you can see that the story of Moses starts with him not being able to speak. So he mind the gap. He recognized that he is not able to lead because he doesn't have faith in them, in the vision of a group of spirits getting out of the grip of Egypt's spell, of perception of corporeal, and then he becomes his hand is covered with leprosy, and leprosy is a sign of speaking ill and speaking in a way that does not see the vision, the possibility of tikkun. So he starts with this, and the Messiah as well will appear as a leopard, because unless you uncover the vision for yourself and for others of tikkun, of being free, of being able to speak and to express real spirituality, you're enslaved. So this is two things that come together as well in Pesach.
Can you, the part I understood least, and I'm sure it says something about me, is when you spoke about the circumcision of the heart. Can you explain that more?
Well, circumcision is a cut. You use, I'll explain it's a surgery, surgical act. Okay. But in terms of spirituality, it's a cut that you take whatever is covering, let's say your heart, your speech, your sight, your ability to feel, and you cut it. Now, there's 3 stages to circumcision. Circumcision is a part of covenant. It means there is some part that need to be taken away in order that we will be able to feel. Then we need to open it and to discover what it means separation and what it means holiness. And then we are able actually to act as. So the first act is actually a cut. What it means a cut in spirituality means that you use the light, you can say as a cyber. I'm speaking as a sword of light.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
You are asking, you're praying for this not being able for this cover to be taken away. As a sign, it's beginning a covenant that you need to agree to it and to develop into it or to evolve into it. So agreeing and choosing to be born as a spirit, as an identity of a spirit, need a cut, meaning something need to be taken from all my senses and need to be given something that will allow me to identify, to actually intimize myself with something inner. So I'm taking away whatever separate. It's taking away the separation. This is circumcision, taking away the separation between us and the higher. So you can say it's an inner ceremony. It's an inner decision. We can say that as usually, an inner decision can express itself in an inner ceremony. Why are you doing the ceremony? You're calling to witness yourself and others to the importance of your decision. You're calling them as a memory. So you can say that Pesach we can use it to call in the memory of our identity as spirit, and to be able, we are praying or asking that the separation will be taken away. So we try to celebrate it with those signs, but basically it's really a very deep inner work. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you. And I wonder if you want to say something about the Seder and the process of the actual Seder.
Okay. I'm going to do it in short because it's first the text that we read in Seder is basically the worst text in Judaism. Why? Because it seems like it's patches and it's not cohesive, and not the poetic nicest part that we're taking. it's like a stammer.
A what?
A stammer.
Oh, stammer, right.
Yeah. It's not being able yet to express the meaning. So it's like bits and pieces.
Right.
That each one need to actually compile them, build them in themselves. But we're doing it together, and we're doing it around a plate, you can say, or a ring of order. The ring of order actually has the signs of 10 sphirot inside this plate, with 3 matzot inside a case. In meaning that the 3 matzot inside a case is saying that spiritual processes need to be hidden, should not be exposed or discussed in outside. They need a keeper. Usually it should be made out of silk, and as you know, silk is an isolator. If you didn't know, silk is an isolator. It doesn't allow everything to go in. So it says that our decision not to allow our ego to inflate, which is matzah, okay, because we don't put in not the time and not the materials that cause it to inflate. The way we do it is not exposed outside. If you expose it outside, basically you allow the spell and the magic of corporate life to take over. So you hide it. But then you have the order of all this is the 3 matzot. This is 3 first sphirot, which mean keter, chokhmah, bina, which is hidden in you, and then you have the 7. Okay, you have the 7 parts, which I will not go into the details, but basically you sit in front of the order, and it's a table of contemplation. It's a table of questions. Most of the Haggadah is so there is specifically 4 is at play. Is the 4 sons? Is the meaning the 4 sons is the 4 positions in ourself in regard to spirituality. Is the evil one is the one that the evil one is more the wicked one, okay? Because evil is sort of the one who is saying, well, this work is not for me. Why are you doing this work? Like Paro. It's a question of Paro. And who is this higher, who is this Havaya that I will work for? This is part in us, what we're doing here. What actually is the demand from me, and why should I actually work for it? There is part in us, so so we bring this part to the Seder as well. We bring the part that is even don't know what to ask. So you need to open. So it's beginning to be that what is in one person is sitting at the table as the other person, because you open for him. You open for him the meaning of the decision to be born. And then there is the whole one that is fine. He doesn't know actually that whether he belongs to this or not. And there is the sage or the wise one. He's not actually asking what we're doing here or what, but actually he's asking what can I do? How can I participate? Okay, which is as well not not to be understood on one level. So those four parts in us, sitting at and trying to be able to hear those section is the speech, the inner speech of them, whether it's express itself in others and we say, well, I belong to this, or whether it's in us. And as well, there's drinking of 4 glasses of wine, which refers well to the 4 exiles and the 4 redemptions, that each one has to go in oneself. Because as we studied in 6,000 spirits, each spirit need to go through the journey of all spirits. Sorry. So the 4 exiles are not merely stories of history, but they are the living events of in each one of us, of the 4 stages and the reasons why actually, and the paradigm of all exiles and redemption is Egypt. Meaning this is the first one, and this is the vision of the last one as well. So actually our tikkun and redemption is very much like Egypt. It was said about Egypt that no one could escape. No one could escape because in the gates sat animals. That every time that a person was trying to go through the gate, it shouted the inner need of the person. And therefore, he could not escape. The inner need of that is not resolved or staying under the spell. So we could see in ourselves that when we try specifically in this period of time to invite a higher power to help us circumcise our heart, we hear the cry of the animal inside us that does not allow us to go out. And therefore, it's a difficult time, but a wonderful time as well, because it's a decision time. Yeah, that's, I think, for beginning Pesach.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Okay. And I want to tell to the people that are with us, not to worry about difficulties, inner difficulties. And sometimes if we don't pay attention, as you know, it will come as an outer pressure, or part of the way. You're not alone in this. If at all we have signs of the path, it's difficulties. It's not the revelation. It's not that we don't have joy, but signs for us is seeing and feeling the difficulty of giving up, of circumcising our heart and our speech. And this is actually a redemption. All exiles are exiles of the place that can unify and speech and can express. So this is why Egypt is a paradigm. So if you feel difficulty in expressing and as well difficulty in finding the way or the place to feel, it is natural and good for you. Okay. So